I was tired of looking at my boring light switch, so I grabbed a dollar store frame and some leftover scrapbooking paper for a quick makeover. You can use anything from napkins to book pages for this. Start by disassembling your frame. If there's a gap between the switch plate and the frame, use the matting to trace and cut a snug opening with an X-Acto knife. To ensure a smooth finish, lightly dampen the back of your paper to soften it before application. Coat the switch plate in Mod Podge, press your paper down firmly, and smooth out any bubbles with a credit card. Add a final top coat of Mod Podge and let it dry completely. Finally, trim the excess paper, cut out the switch openings, and screw the plate back into the wall for a custom look. How easy was that?
Ever look around your home and think, wow, those outlets really bring down the vibe? So I decided to change that, and the solution came from inexpensive thrift store frames. First, I cut a thin piece of scrap wood to fit perfectly into the back opening of the more ornate frame. This was going to act as a solid base. Since smooth surfaces don't always hold glue well, I roughed up the wood with very coarse sandpaper to give the adhesive something to grip onto. On the back of the wood piece, I carefully measured for center and level so the plug covers would end up exactly where the real outlet would be. Next, I grabbed a few plug safety covers. Same deal, sanded them down so the epoxy would stick better. To keep them perfectly aligned, I used a spare outlet part I had removed from elsewhere as a guide while I epoxied the covers in place. When shopping for frames, do be sure to look for ones that are not real heavy. This one already had a sturdy backing, so after carefully removing the stand, I just used what was there. I roughed up the back with coarse sandpaper and roughed up the surface of the plastic plug covers and epoxied everything together. While that epoxy was curing, I printed out a photo of black and white marble I had taken a while ago, slid it behind the cleaned up glass, and when the epoxy was cured, reassembled the frame. Back upstairs in the kitchen, it was time to try out the new framed outlet covers. The end result? Instead of glaring at boring outlet covers, I now have artwork on my wall that happens to serve a purpose.
Pick up a couple of bins and these barnwood boards at Walmart. These boards are already prepped and ready to go. We just need to remove the twine from the back. Now I want to add a little detail to this. So I'm going to use just a paper number stencil, and I'm going to add a stenciled number to the top of each board. To the bottom, I want to add a little knob. Now, if you're using thicker wood, you can absolutely drill a hole and use the screw that comes with these knobs. Since this is very thin wood, I'm just going to use some super glue to attach it. Now I want to place the board on the bin. The bin doesn't sit completely flat against the board, so I'm using some thick Gorilla mounting tape on the clear bin, and then I'm going to press the board on there really well. You can either set something heavy on top of this or use clamps to hold it in place for about 30 minutes until it cures. And I'm going to hide some craft supplies that don't really fit anywhere else. I have this beautiful clean look on the outside, and I can easily access everything I need when I pull these out. I hope this inspired you to grab some bins and use this creative way to hide some of your items.
Customize your light switch covers with these 4 easy hacks. Grab some napkins, apply Mod Podge to the light cover switch, place the napkin on top, and gently wrap the napkin over the edges of the cover. Trim the excess and apply Mod Podge on the top of the napkin and poke the screw holes out. 2. Grab some washi tape and place on a light cover switch. Wrap around the edges and keep adding tape until it is completely covered. Poke the screw holes and you're done. 3. Grab some scrap wallpaper and trim a little bigger than the light switch cover. Use hot glue on the edges to wrap and secure the wallpaper over the light switch cover. Trim the corners to reduce the bulk, and then cut out the center hole and wrap it to the back. Poke the screw holes through. 4. Grab some adhesive shelf liner and cut it a little bigger than the light switch cover. Peel the backing off, apply to the light switch cover, and trim the corners before wrapping it around the back. I used a blow dryer to smooth it out and it helped it stick better. Cut the center hole and wrap it to the back. Now you have 4 unique ideas for creating custom light switch covers. I hope this inspired you to create your own light switch cover.
I have been looking for a way to cover my ugly thermostat, and I think I just found the perfect thing. Now I want to double check and mark the size of my thermostat on the inside of the basket. I want to cut a hole into the top of the basket and cut some of it away. With the hole cut, I want to get some flowers ready to put in the basket. To keep the basket where I want it over my thermostat, I'm just going to use 2 small nails. This is going to allow me to pop it off anytime I need to. The last thing to do is fill my basket with the pretty flowers and greenery. I couldn't be happier with how well this pretty basket covers my ugly thermostat. It was the perfect solution. I hope this has inspired you to grab a basket if your thermostat needs a spruce up as well.
So today I'm going to be doing 2 light switch covers, and you do not have to do this, but I love to put a canvas underneath and get a 2-in-1 project out of it. These are just acrylic pouring paints that are ready to go out of the box from Arteza. And there's no specific technique that you have to do, but I'm going to basically just go ahead and go around in kind of a circle. If you're happy with the design, you can stop pouring on the light switch cover and just go ahead and pour directly onto your canvas. But I want to get some of this orange onto my cover, so I'm going to keep pouring on here. And it will kind of change a little bit as it continues to move. I'm going to go ahead and let this one sit while I do the second one. So I'm going to go kind of more pastel on this one. Got a pastel yellow. I did put some of the silver in there. I'm going with a carnation pink. I will put a little bit of black as well, just to add some contrast, and because that can also get us some nice gray. This is a coral pink, a really pretty color. And then I have a light purple here, lavender. So once again, just putting my light switch cover here. Just carefully lifting by the cup, pull this first one off, and then you just tilt the canvas. There you go. Okay, nice, wild and fun painting. I actually really like that. So I plan on hanging these canvases near the light switches that I painted, but it could also just be a separate piece of art in your home, especially if you're using the colors that go along with your home decor. So I'm going to go ahead and bring you down for a quick close-up on both the light switches and the canvases. And then we're going to let these dry, and I'll show you how they look all ready to go and in place. Let's go ahead and start with our light switch covers. Super fun. Loving the patterns and colors on both of these. And then here is the slightly more subdued painting. I probably could have used a little bit less black, but it's lots of fun, and see the cool patterns here that the light switches made. And here's the wild and funky one with the neons. All right, we're back. Here's our first light switch cover with the matching painting. So I have them hung on the wall here together. And let's go ahead and look at the second one. Here is the second one along with the painting with the more wild colors. So as you can see, you can just do any colors you want whatsoever to either match your home decor or to stand out. It's totally up to you.